Well, hi everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal. We're live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to tighten our belts a bit and cope with life on a limited budget, and particularly cooking on a limited budget. And today I've got two things that I want to show you. I hopefully both will be of value to you. The first one I'm going to show you is I'm going to make a no pasta lasagna. And the reason I do that is so that I can choose, you know, I can either have it as a meal unto itself, or if I feel like having some carbs that day, I can just cook up, sort of a third of a cup of dry pasta and put this over the top of it, knowing that it will have all the nourishment. So we've got a lot of leftover stuff. From the week that I'm going to make it from. I'm not going to worry about measuring everything up. This is called it's what I call my personal potluck meal. And when I'm planning my meals, it goes under the heading of something out of the freezer. And I will know I've got the right thing because it will be, as you know, it'll be in a block like this. All right. That's how I know that I've got the right thing. And then it's a potluck as to 9 times out of 10 as to what's in it. All I know is that it will be tasty because we cooked it together. And I will know that it's made with a lot of love and a lot of laughter. And that's the important thing. So today we're going to start with this. And what I've got here, just so you can see, I've got some uh, diced onion that I got out of the freezer, using up stuff in the freezer. Some leftover baked beans. Had some good protein, people. I've got some chives, fresh chives. I've got a marrow that is just about to go past its prime. Sorry, they call it that in England. For people in England, they'll know what I was talking about. Zucchini in American. Don't normally call it marrow. That's way back. And then I've got some celery that needs using up, so that's good. And in here, I have got some uh, a meal that I made using some mushroom soup as a base. So I'm going to use this up into the zucchini because it'll all add taste to it. It's got lots of stuff in there as well. So quite simply, we're going to do it the easy way. Let's start. I'm just going to put a little bit of onion in all of these. Before I do, you might wonder, what is this about? It's not a dog bag. This week, we just had our garbage picked up. And that means it'll be 2 weeks before they come back for this. I've got things, this is that sort of diaper that they put at the bottom of meat. And I don't want that sitting in my garbage bin for 2 weeks. So what I do is I put it in one of these grocery bags that I have. They bring my vegetables in this. It's green, so I know I don't put this in my freezer normally. So I know when it comes to doing the garbage, I go to the freezer, I pull out any bags that are green. Clever idea, easy to see, and I don't have to worry about it. Just tie it up and huck it in the freezer, and it's good. And I learned that hack from my sister when she lived in California. So here we go. We're going to put a little bit of onion in each of them at the bottom, basically because onion takes the longest to cook. I have slightly pre-cooked these. Just because they just gives them a fighting chance. And of course we got some of that onion liquid, which is great. So there we go. They've all got some onion in them. I'm going to give them all a dollop of the mystery. Oh, it was a ramen noodle mystery. Now I remember. So that's going at the bottom of there. And I can see that I've got everything in here. I've got peas, I've got carrots. So it's got a lot of different things to it. all good fiber. All right, so now we're going to put some, for those of you who were around in February when I had the roast that I bought in February, I bought a pre-cooked ham. This is some of that ham that I'm going to use. But before I do that, I'm going to cut some zucchini and put a layer of zucchini. So I've got out my slicer, and I'm still pretty new at this, so bear with me. So we're going to put a layer of zucchini, which will act as our pasta. That's good. Let's put some celery on there. Okay, a bit of celery each end just to fill it up. More green. Don't need a whole lot. Celery is pretty pungent. There we go. Now we'll put some meat. So this is some of that ham that we cut and froze. I really recommend doing what I call this mystery dish each week. Basically, as I said, I always know that it's going to be tasty because we've cooked it together and we've all had input. But also, it's like, I wonder what I'm eating this evening, literally. So, and this will be some of my deli meat for this week. So that's going back in the fridge. And the next thing. I really wish that you guys had sniffing computers, because my whole kitchen smells of roast beef. That is what's sitting right there. I'm going to bring it out in a second, but oh, it smells so good. All right, so now we've got the ham. So what about now we'll just put a little bit of baked beans on each of them. That's good protein again. And knowing me, these will be maple baked beans, so they'll be tasty as well. The Canadian thing. There we go. And then we get some color in there. Let's get some red and some yellow. Peppers, just regular peppers, sweet peppers. Yeah. Peppers. And I'm going to put a few grape tomatoes in each. because I've got a new batch that came in today. A couple on each, more red. Eat the rainbow. Got red, yellow, orange, brown, green. Yeah, we're pretty good. Pretty impressive. Now then, we're going to change the taste of each of them by adding different herbs and spices to each one. I'm going to probably put, not probably, definitely, and put some Montreal steak spice on all of them because that has all sorts of good stuff in it. And that'll be a base. And so one of them I'm going to put some basil in. Oh, not that much though. Two of them. I'm going to have some basil in. I'm going to put some chives in to all of them. Now, I haven't got much liquid in here. And there's a reason. I don't know if you know that, but when zucchini cooks, a lot of zucchini is water. And so as it cooks, it will release more liquid into these. That's why I'm not adding extra liquid. So I'm going to add another layer of zucchini. Oh, looks like I got one there. Now we know that I need to use all of this up, so I'm not going to be stingy about it. Again. And let's put some other herbs on. I'm going to put some mint on one of them. And I'm going to put some ginger on the other one, which will be this one. And this one, I'm going to put a little bit of curry powder, just to give it a slightly different taste. And what I haven't done is put in any carrot. There. So let's put some carrot on there as well. So I'm going to cut that quite thinly. Let's see how thin we can make this. Not that thin. And very thin slivers of carrot here. Literally like this. Now the color. It's too big. Yep. It's pretty good. And I'm just going to put, actually before I put those last two on, I'm going to put another spoon of mushroom soup on top, because that'll work its way down. Yeah. Now, one of the joys of doing this, from my experience, is this one, right? I haven't done the last one. Thank you. I could hear you talking to me. By the way, whenever my local supermarket has canned mushroom soup by the flat on sale, a dozen of them at a time, I always buy a flat. It's so useful. Oh, Isabel's saying, I have all the gizmos, but of course now I want this one. Which one? Which one of my many gizmos is it you're thinking of? Is it this 1 cup measure? I want to tell you, Isabel, I do not regret buying it at all. I have two different ones. This one, and I have a different. Oh, the slicer. Wait until wait until I do the roast beef. But what you've got to look at. Do you remember? Did you see the program where I did the ham? Or were you missing that night? Because I want to tell you, I worked it out that this slicer cost me less than, how much did it cost me? Less than $50. And I reckon it will pay for itself within a couple of months, just on the savings on deli meat. That's the amazing part of it. I spend $24 a month on deli meat minimum. All right. Oh, of course, you've got the electric one that you're scared of. I do remember now. Okay, well, let's put this lot back. I find I use it for all sorts of things. But here's the thing. Why not sell the electric one to pay for the manual one? Have you thought of that? Okay, so what I wanted to finish telling you was sometimes I will pull out the freezer, the mystery meal, and I know what it is. I know roughly what it's going to be. So sometimes I choose to eat it like this. Sometimes I just warm it up and have it as a meal as it is. Sometimes I will cook up a quarter of a cup of dry pasta and then put it over pasta. Sometimes I'll decide I really fancy a soup and salad tonight. So I'll take the block, liquidize it in my Ninja, and make a soup out of it, and then just sit quietly and sip on soup, knowing that I have got the rainbow in there. And that's the good thing. So I'm just going to cook it up quietly while we chat. And I put it on for I've put it on for 45 minutes, but I probably will stop it at about 30. I'll see how it's doing. And I've put it on at 300. Why? Most of what's in there is already cooked, and it will be cooked again when I get it out of the freezer. Does that make sense to everybody? So I don't need to overcook everything. I just need to cook it enough so that it's not raw. So I'm now going to put these things away. One second. Now, I just got to warn you, I'm a bit spacey tonight. In fact, Jody contacted me before the broadcast and said, how are you doing? Are you up to doing a full broadcast? And I said, I'm a little bit more tired than I would want to be, but I'm going to do it anyway. So if I suddenly stop, or if I suddenly feel like I can't do much more, then I'll be honest and let you know. But so far, I'm doing great. So put that away, put that away. Okay. Put that in water. Those vegetables I will eat during the week. Yeah, so excited. Right, now, that's my other zucchini in case we needed more, and we don't. Which is awesome. Right, I got pictures to show you now. All right, so today or rather this week, I bought on special a AAA sirloin tip, 3 pounds for $16.47 Canadian. 3 pounds of it. Now, what does that look like when you cut it up? I can show you. Thank you. Okay. I cut the small roast, you can see there, which is the one we're about to play with. I cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steaks in the corner there. I cut 2 lots of cubed steak. And this here is about 3 ounces of fat that I cut off that I don't want in my body. So this is the small roast. So I'm just trying to work out how many meals that is. So already we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no, 6 steaks, 3-ounce steaks. Pretty good, right? Bear with me a second. So it's 6, 7, 8. And now whatever we get here. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some of this for roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. I'll have a couple of slices. I already have Yorkshire pudding frozen in my freezer. What I will also do is after the broadcast, I will cook up gravy to go with it. And so whenever I feel like roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, I can have it quickly. Very good idea. So now I'm going to cut the beef. I'm not quite sure. I've never done beef on this yet, so it's all an experiment, people. Right, we know that the ham went beautifully. Let's see how the beef does. Oops. I'm not good at this yet, but I don't care. We will get there. Now the first thing I'm doing is some deli meat slices. So you can see that they're pretty darn thin. Oh, that's not that's not going to go very far, is it? That's good. I just literally put the roast in the air fryer at 350 for half an hour, turned it over, gave it another half an hour, wanted it more cooked rather than less, and I slathered it both sides with Genie's magic mustard. And I want to tell you, I better keep slicing. Oh, so good. So there we've got a little bit of that. I'll make the slices a bit bigger, see if it's easier for me. That looks better. Mm. 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 So we said we've already have 8 meals, right? So this is now 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 meals. And here I've got 2 more lots of deli meat for my pitas, because that one is not going to make it anyway. So, 6, 7, 8. That is about just over $1 for each serving of meat. What do you think? Good saving? Plus, hang on, I've got to get that mustard. I need to show you the mustard because this is called the sweet and spicy. And the taste of that on beef is magnificent. So that's Ray's Mustard, R-A-Y-E. I'm not paid to promote them, but I want to tell you that was a really good idea to put that on the beef. Now, if I don't put this away, I will sit here and eat it. But what I wanted to show you, this is I buy the roast of the month for me, and I have now made over a dozen servings of beef. So that will last me. I normally have beef once or twice a week. Sometimes I can have roast beef one day. You understand? I can grind that up and make ground beef. Add vegetables to it, make shepherd's pie or make meatballs or whatever I want. But I've got all sorts of options, and the good news is it's already cooked. Right? I don't have to cook it. Somebody arrives unexpectedly for coffee or whatever, and I want to make a charcuterie board or something, I can do that. All right? I just literally pull out some ham, pull out some roast beef, and it's just already sliced, so I've just got to put it out. It'll thaw in no time at all. And we can have snacks. Or I can make a couple of pitas and put them in. Makes sense. So I like cooking it ahead of time because it makes it so much quicker for the rest of the month. I hope that makes sense. Therefore, I only cook once. The rest of the time, I'm going to be warming it up. How much electricity am I saving because I do that? Right? That's what I want you to think about. All these little steps that we're taking all help save money. Let me put it away. I can tell. I keep looking at it going, I want more. I'm allowed more. I'm allowed dinner. Now, again, another big cost-saving thing that I discovered, I buy good quality, you've probably heard me talk about this before, but I buy good quality plastic bags, and I use them instead of cling wrap. So if I have this meat here, deli meat, I just put it on there, turn that over, put the next serving on top like that, and then I put the 2 in the bag. Now, I don't need to freeze these because there's not very much and I'll be using it this week. And then what I do, I think some of you have seen me do this, when I get it out of the fridge or out of the freezer, I turn the bag inside out and put it on the top level of my dishwasher. So every time it gets a really good wash and sanitizing, but because it's good quality, it doesn't melt. So again, I'm going to put 1 serving inside, turn it over, put 1 serving here, another serving on top, another bag, another serving on top, another bag, another serving. Dinner, Sal, that's dinner. Will it last long enough? Oh, what if I put it in that juice? Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. And now I can just put it all into one bag like that. And then turkey, beef stew, no. Spaghetti pie, no. No. Shepherd's pie, no. Ribs, no. Meatballs, no. Spam, no. Pork. Ah, guess I gotta make some more. So then I just make I have a page, last year's page a day diary, and I keep them and I just fold them in half like this. Okay, just like this. Put it at the front. Seal the bag. The air out of it. These are a double zippers on them. I like those better. Okay. Nice and easy to do. All right. And then I can freeze them. So I've got roast beef. Is you know me so well. Is saying no point in putting a date on there. As you know, she's got to eat it really quickly. Oh, that's so cute. Jody said, I always get inspired to meal prep after watching it. But does this make sense, Jody? I don't have to think. All right. I feel like roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. I got it. I've just got to pull it out of the freezer. It's already cooked. Don't have to slave over a stove. Just need to be able to warm it up. And quite honestly, if I didn't have electricity for some reason, I had a power cut, I could warm it up with a coffee mug. You know what I mean? It's possible to do. Oh, no. Going in the freezer, so before you eat it. Now, how many of you think that I acted the part about wanting to eat it? Because I need to tell you, I didn't do that. I know some of you know me well enough to know that I wouldn't lie about it. It really was so simple and yet so tasty. Jody's saying, makes so much sense. Roast beef with Yorkshire. Who would think to have it prepped like that? It's so cool. And by the way, Jody, you know, quite often I will take, I buy myself one potato a week. That's what I allow myself. And sometimes I end up got two in my drawer at the moment. But I buy one potato a week and I can choose to either eat it or not eat it. But sometimes I don't. Last week I didn't eat my potato. But now, for example, I know I've got roast beef and I'm going to want roast potatoes to go with it. And the easy way to do that is just literally to cut a potato lengthwise in half and then cover it with oil and salt and pepper, and then just put it into the air fryer for half an hour or so, and it will cook like a giant roast potato. It's just like that is so easy, really easy. The other thing is you saw that I dropped these slices into the juice that is here. Now, this is the juice that's come out of the roast, and it has also got a lot of the mustard in it. How many of you know that is going to be better than tasty? So I'm going to warm that up. Later. All right, any questions? This is how I eat healthy meals, but not with a lot of work. I literally, because we do this cooking on a Friday night, And because most nights that we do it, I cook 4 or something. You understand, I'm constantly cooking whatever that thing is that we're cooking. I'm cooking enough to keep me going 1 a week for the next month. And every now and then I have to empty my freezer to find out what is still in there. And then what I do is I pull out a calendar and I start adding those bits into the system so that I know I need to eat some other things. Now, I've got some fish that one day I thought I'd be a good girl and eat fish. Who was I kidding? It's been in there too long, so it's going out. Now, how many of you know I will fight with that because I don't want to waste the money? Jody's saying, question, just how long would it take me to get to your house? I'm ready for Yorkshire pudding. Well, presuming it would take you an hour to get to the airport and an hour from the airport, my side, and back again, that's 2 hours. Across the country would take you about 3 hours. Yeah, about half a day. A day would do it. Okay, Yorkshire pudding. All right. You don't know what that is? It's a very British thing, Isabel. It sounds horrible, but there is nothing like it with roast beef, especially if you've got great gravy. So, would anybody else like to see how to make it? Because I'll gladly whip out. I got roast beef coming. How many of you going, yeah, and she wants that Yorkshire pudding. She doesn't have to take it out of the oven. The only thing is, there are a couple of little bits you need to be careful of. Actually, I have done, now that I think about it, I have done a video on it for my halogen. Before I had the air fryer, I've still got the halogen here. And really, it's very simple. Very simple indeed. I take one, just for myself, I will take 1 cup of flour, self-raising, 1 cup of milk, and 2 eggs. Don't be stingy on the eggs. My mommy always said 1 cup of flour and 1 egg for each person, and then an extra egg at the end. All right. So if you're cooking for 2 people, put in 3 eggs, 1 egg for each person, and then an extra egg. So anyway, you put a cup of flour, a cup of milk, an egg, a little bit of salt, and you whip it all up so it's like pancake mix is. The trick about making good Yorkshire pudding is the heat of the oven. The whole thing about it is the hotter you can do it, the better, because it rises puffs. Have you heard of popovers, Isabel? I think the Americans call them popovers. Am I correct in that, Jody? I'm not totally bilingual yet, even after all this time. I think you call a Yorkshire pudding a popover. Is that correct? Dum 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 dum. Yes. Okay. So, and it puffs right up. And funny enough, it has the same ingredients as a cake. But what you do is Yvonne would, I think, walk here in her bare feet to get Yorkshire pudding. But as long as I'm making the gravy to go with it. She used to love poking a hole at the top of hers. It would puff up like this, and she'd cut a little hole in the top and pour the gravy in. I used to have one neighbor way back. I can remember in my 20s. I had when I first came to Canada in my late 20s, I had a neighbor, and anytime I cook roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, I would invite my neighbors. Why? Because not many people, cook roast beef and Yorkshire pudding anymore. And I used to say, I'm going to be cooking roast beef and Yorkshire pudding on Friday. If anybody's interested, just let me know so I know how much Yorkshire pudding to make. And they used to say to me, don't worry about the roast beef. I mean, as nice as it is, that just the Yorkshire pudding and the gravy would be wonderful, So people who have never had it would be probably not keen to try it. And even it's a bit like poutine is, right? How many people wouldn't try poutine because you got fries with cheese curds and then gravy? I mean, hello. Well, it sounds disgusting unless you happen to have tried it and found out that it is very addictive. And I haven't had any. It was so funny because when I came out of the operation of the mastectomy, I was in recovery. And, they said, is there anything we can get you? And I said, absolutely. A caramel macchiato would go down really well right now. And the nurse looked at me and said, no, sir, I don't mean that. I mean, is there anything else we can get you to make your life easier right now? I said, well, yeah. If I can't have the macchiato, then would poutine be possible? And they just looked at me and, they're trying to give me pain meds and I'm calling for coffee and poutine. Right. So, Isabel, you understand how many people don't want to try poutine because it sounds horrible. Oh, Jodie's saying she loves the squeaky cheese curds. Yeah, it's just like, I totally understand it. When I first came, I never had poutine. I can't even remember. When I went to visit Montreal, I must have had it then. And then I was hooked for life. This is just like, but I realize now that I didn't have poutine. That was going to be my reward for going through the mastectomy. And I didn't have it. And then Yvonne and I were going to have it, but she came here to measure and we forgot about it. Rats. So I was going to have it in November. I've just had my A1C done, my blood sugar. So I'm going to have poutine this week. And I'm going to go and buy some. I'm not going to make it. I'm going to really treat myself and go and buy some. Yeah. But Isabel, we all have different things. How many Canadians, understand grits, and yet the Americans are going, you don't know what grits are? In Africa, people don't know about mealie pop. And so there are all sorts of, every country has its own little thing, right? So I'm going to stop broadcasting because I'm really getting rather buzzed here and I'm overheated. So I know I need to sit down. But I'm hoping that you all could see, number one, I turned a week's worth of leftover vegetables and other foods and turned them into 4 mystery meals for the month. If I eat 1 mystery meal a week, you understand, I will work my way through. I've still got some in the freezer, and I just have them all lumped together. So I can sort of go, okay, I think I'll try that one today, see what it is. And I cannot tell you how often I just, will just cook up a little bit of pasta or something, or a little bit of rice, and I'll throw it on top. And then I go, oh, isn't that interesting? I remember making that. And the second thing is, I hope you can see that with the investment in a slicer and to buy roasts on sale, all right, I didn't just go out and buy a roast of beef. I waited until they put a decent sized piece on sale, and then I bought it. The same thing as just if none of us can afford to buy meat anymore. It's so expensive. But if you buy it in bigger sizes and only when it goes on sale, it is really good. I buy my cereal when it goes on sale. So at the moment, I got 3 boxes of my cereal here. Why? It might not go on sale again for another month or so. So I know I've got enough to keep me going. And that is how I shop now for most things. When I go through their list of what they've got on sale this week, I go, how often do I use that? I never buy my dishwashing liquid unless it's on sale. Actually, I buy powder. I only buy it when it's on sale. My washing powder, actually, I buy the tabs for my dishwasher. For my washing machine, I only buy that when it's on sale. I have coffee, you can't see it. I have coffee on top of all my cupboards because I only buy it when it's on sale. And sometimes there are different coffees on sale every week, and I'll pick some up. And I've got, let's see. For example, I really like this coffee, and my local Save on Foods has it, but they also make it do ground coffee in it. So sometimes I will buy the pods. These are the pods that go in my Keurig, or I'll just buy it loose. But and it goes on sale quite regularly. So I've got one here from February, one from earlier in March, and now another one. They had it on sale again this week. So I don't think about the fact that, oh, I'm wasting money. I know I'm saving money because the price of coffee is ridiculous. So anytime I can save $2 on coffee, I'll do it. And quite honestly, here I'm saving about $5 each time. The other thing that I found, and it's important, is I will cook that way. All right. I think you know that. I have stopped cooking during the week. I now cook for you, and I make that last me. And I either, as I said, I either use it as a soup. Let's say that I don't feel like eating that mystery meal. How many of you know that I will probably blend it and use it as a sauce over some pasta? All right, because depending on how I use it, I can add cheese to it or something and make a cheese sauce out of it. It'll be really tasty, and add some Parmesan over the top of it, and you know, it's amazing what you can do with leftovers if you want to, and it's very, very tasty. So look at what's on sale, buy local produce if you can. The other thing is the price of, I can't remember what it was. Something went way down this week. My cheese that I do buy cheese that I like. I save on other things so I can buy cheese that I like. The price of my cheese has doubled since the start of the pandemic. Doubled. Isn't that scary? And it's, admittedly, it's British cheese. I'm very seriously considering moving away from that cheese and onto a local cheese so I can save the money. And maybe just buy one block a month of the imported cheese. But it literally has doubled in price, and I'm not sure that I can afford to do that. So I'm thinking now, because I've got the slicer, the next experiment I want to do is to buy a big block of marble cheese, because I buy marble cheese slices. The other thing I want to make sure you know, when it's pre-cut like that, when the cheese is pre-cut, you use less. If I go to my block of cheese and I cut it, I will use far more cheese than if I take a cheese slice. Does that make logical sense to anybody? Sometimes I just pick up the piece of cheese and take a chunk of it. Yeah, I live on my own. I take a bite of my cheese. So to me, I like buying the cheese slices because it's portion control for me. All right, I'm going to get out of here and rest. So hopefully this has been a fun experiment. Hopefully you will see the wisdom of why I meal prep. Saves me money on my electricity. Saves me throwing away. I don't throw away stuff out of my fridge nearly as much. You remember I said I learned how to eat, learned what it was I could eat and not mess with my blood sugar too much. I am now down to what I know I can order every week. I know how many apples I go through in a week. I know how many oranges I go through in a week. I know how many grapes I go through. Do you understand? I now know that if I buy this quantity, I won't waste too much. I know how many assorted nuts to buy once a month. I know how many, you understand, it's all these things that it's like I have a base menu now because I need to eat a base menu. But what I've done is I've learned to save quite a bit of money by doing it. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you all so much. This food will carry on cooking. I'm gonna eat. I'm gonna warm up my roast beef, and I'm just gonna have it as it is. And well, it probably won't get to the couch. That's how much I probably want to eat it. But I will warm it up and have it. And I quite honestly, I think I've got a bit of pita bread that I can soak up that gravy with. Oh, that would sound so good. That's nearly as good as poutine. I'm going to do that. This is Dear Mama Sal saying thanks for being here. We can do this. Baby steps. Happy St. Patrick's Day, if it still is, wherever you are. Hope you had a great one, and we'll see you next week. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.